So the challenges that we face, which are particular, I think, to the EU communication activities, are of course the fragmentation of our messages, because they are coming from all kinds of topics, policies, DGs, institutions, parts of the EU. The fragmentation of audiences. We're talking in many different languages to many different countries on many different issues, many types of stakeholders. And of course, the fragmentation of media also, because there's a lot of different platforms. You have to choose where you are. That's one big challenge. The other one is the complexity. A lot of the things that we do, the policies, the measures, the programs, are quite complex, and they're very difficult to communicate in easy, understandable language. How do you explain the banking union or GDPR or those big initiatives that have so many facets, so many measures, and so many of them take a long time because they have different levels of implementation. So that's another complexity that we have to deal with. So given all that, we also have some opportunities to communicate, and we're looking at it from the bright side in the sense that we see that's increased trust and support for the EU lately, and the latest Eurobarometer confirmed that. We see some grassroots institutions that have come up on their own and are supporting Europe. And we see that people are becoming a little bit more alert about disinformation and are trying to understand who's behind and fact-checking a little bit better. So this is where we stand now, and I think it's a good time to review our whole model of communication. We're always conscious that we are dealing with taxpayers' money, and we have to be very careful all along the way what we do with it. But still, we have an objective here. We have the objective to make what the EU does understandable to the average citizen and make it relevant to them, because it affects their lives, whether they know it or not. So we want them to be more aware of that. And to do this, we have to communicate. It's not enough to put out a press release and to expect some newspaper is going to relay the message. It's not enough to put it on social media and expect that people are going to come to you. No, you have to push. You have to push the messages out, and to do that, you have to pay money. And that is where we made this step change now, where we actually do advertising online, because we understand that there's no other way. The way the platforms, whether you like it or not, the platforms the online platforms today will not show your message if you don't pay, or they'll show very few of your messages to very few of the real diehards who are going to go to it. So once we made that a realization, and we came to terms with that, and there's still people in the Commission that feel kind of uncertain that we should be paying Facebook, Twitter, and the other platforms money to be communicating. But this is the reality, and if we're not out there, then somebody else is going to occupy the ground, and then we're just going to be attacked online, and we're going to be sidelined, and this cannot do. We see the effects of that, and this is what we're waking up to. When you're reaching out to young audiences who are not like me, let's say, you have to speak their language, understand their kind of humor, and be where they are. And we have to allow for that, and that's why it's very nice that in my team I have people who are different ages, but you have to let go a little bit of control so that you can speak to people in a language or in a way that they're going to want to be spoken to. It's really great because when you're a communicator in the institution, you feel a little bit isolated. You're there, you have your team, you have the communications agency that you're dealing with, but you can't really benchmark yourself against something because we're so different, we're so unique in a way. So it's so nice to go out to events like this where you can talk to other communicators. You can see how people are seeing you know, and you can learn from that. You can get ideas. You can get access to contacts, to resources, to new thinking. This is something we should be doing more, and I really welcome this chance to do that.